I'm JP Tuesday.
And I'm Kiki Canon. As lifelong Disney fans, the work of countless talented Disney creatives have shaped our lives.
Now, as the Disney catalog expands, we're taking a journey through film and television to discover if that spark that shaped us as children lives on in adulthood.
Does your favorite Disney media still cast that same spell? Join us as we find out. We are Rewatching the Magic.
Hi, Kiki.
Hi, Tuesday.
All right, let's get the business part out of the way. We have our sponsor, MarsCon 2021, which is going to be virtual this year. And for more information on MarsCon, here you go.
The world's longest running comedy music concert series is coming from inside your house.
Wow, that went to a dark place.
Virtual MarsCon 2021 is taking place online for free on March 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Hi, MarsCon.
This year's event will have live stream performances by The Great Luke Ski, Devo Spice, Worm Quartet, Insane Ian, Tiggy's Kyle and Linzilla, Il Nage, Beth Kinderman, Tom Smith, Throwing Toasters, Amy Englehart, an AMA interview with Ookla the Mop, and this year's music guest of honor, Robbie Ellis. We'll also be doing a virtual Q&A with the man who has been playing drums in Weird Al Yankovic's band for over 40 years, John Bermuda Schwartz. Drum solo! For info on how to watch, go to MarsCon.com. And for info on the comedy music track, go to MarsConComedy.com.
And do watch out for flying lobsters.
Thanks for listening, funny music fans. And I hope to see you all at Virtual MarsCon 2021.
Yeah, like we said last week, we will be hanging out in the chat room and stuff. So if we're any sort of particular draw, come chat with us as we listen to and watch awesome comedy performances.
I'm just glad I don't have to work a table this year.
Yeah, normally if you show up at MarsCon, one or both of us will be working. Tuesday always works the merch table. Sometimes I am also there, but generally I am helping out with other parts.
I believe your official role last year was liaison.
Yeah, I'm generally helping logistically other things. So,
yeah.
But sometimes I've worked the merch table before.
Yep. We have two news stories that we want to get to before our main feature, and both of them are kind of a downer, depending on how you want to look at it. Let's talk about breaking news. Gina Carano fired from Lucasfilm. Gina Carano, for those of you who've been watching The Mandalorian, she is Cara Dune, or was Cara Dune. Of course, most people might have saw her as Angel in Deadpool. Apparently,
I have a feeling that since Disney also owns Deadpool now, that maybe that's not a role she will be reprising either. Let's talk about why she got fired.
Well, let's just say that she had the opportunity to pretty much have a job for life if part of the Star Wars franchise, would have been a big part of this Rangers of the New Republic series. But apparently she decided that being a bigot was a bigger priority for her.
Yeah, for those of you who don't follow social media, she decided to take to Twitter and air quite a few hot takes, including that COVID-19 is no big deal and nobody should be wearing a mask. Please wear a mask. COVID-19 is a very big deal. It is wrecking our lives. There's your theme for today. Get vaccinated, stay indoors until it's over. Oh my goodness, we cannot harp on that enough. She also angered the transgender community and their allies by mocking the practice of putting your pronouns in your profile. And when people asked her to show support in that way, she instead mocked the practice by declaring her pronouns were beep, boop, beep.
Which, considering what we heard about Pedro Pascal earlier this week, that's not going to...
Yeah, also breaking news, Pedro Pascal, his sister has come out as trans, and Pedro has apparently been incredibly supportive and loving and accepting of his sister, so bravo to Pedro Pascal.
This is the way, not what Gina's doing.
Yes, which is why Gina Carano is fired and Pedro Pascal is beloved. It seems the last straw for Lucasfilm, Disney, and also her agent, because she's been fired by her agent as well, was that she compared a certain political party in the U.S. today to people who were
persecuted in World War II.
Persecuted in World War II, yeah. This is not the way.
When you're a public figure, especially when you're a public figure that works for a company as big as Disney, you have to be careful of what you say, because whatever you say on social media will get back to the company. This is not just for people who work for an entertainment industry, but any industry. If you are a jerk on social media, it will get back to your job, and you will get disciplined for it because you represent that company. And when you act in a way that is unbecoming of the company you work for, they will get rid of you.
I mean, yeah, you can't always change somebody's mind, but at least you can keep them from harming others. Yeah. And that, I think, is the more important thing there. Her own beliefs are her own beliefs, but when you step in front of a microphone and start telling people bigoted things, then you are actively harming others, and maybe that's something that Disney should not give a platform to. And I'm glad they're not going to. Hopefully she'll see the light and figure it out, and maybe in a few years we'll be like, oh, okay, good job on the changing. So
I want to believe that she'll become a better person, especially when her acting between Deadpool and The Mandalorian had improved so much, and that character was such a positive role model for women in that first season. To see that the actor is the complete opposite of what the character is, it's disheartening.
Yeah.
All right, let's in our second bit of sad news, Disney has closed Blue Sky Studios. Blue Sky Studios was the animation studio under Fox that they've made movies such as the Ice Age series, Robots, Rio, the Peanuts movie. Horton Hears a Who wasn't actually that bad, and of course their most recent movie, Spies in Disguise. And I saw this coming. As soon as the Fox deal went through, it was only a matter of time for them to do something about Blue Sky, because they already have the Walt Disney Animation Studio. They already have Pixar. I can't see Disney actually wanting a third animation studio. But what hurt me in reading the story was the movie that they were already working on when the company was shut down. An adaptation of the webcomic Nimona, I believe that's how it's pronounced, and the fact that this would have been a very featuring an LGBTQ character in a lead role, which I have many members of the LGBTQ community as friends. I consider myself to be an ally, or trying to be the best ally I can be. And I could see that for them to have a character that represents them as the main character in an animated movie from a major studio, that would have been such a good thing for them.
Yeah, the issue is that one of the things that we know is a problem with Disney, and this is not just a problem with Disney, it's also holding back quite a few other companies as well, but it's especially bad with Disney, is that LGBTQ representation is being held back primarily because films with those themes are basically forbidden in both China and Russia, which are major markets, especially in China. This is why, there was such a big deal about, LeFou is going to be gay in the live-action Beauty and the Beast. And then when you watched the movie, there was, 2 seconds at the end where he, asks a guy to dance.
And then you had
But that was cut out in the overseas market.
Same thing for the gay couple at the end of Rise of Skywalker, and
also cut out. Yeah.
The gay character in Onward.
Yeah. There's also been an issue with black representation overseas. Things like the Star Wars posters that had Finn prominently. You know, John Boyega's face is very prominent in a lot of the new trilogy posters. And if you see the overseas posters for some of them, the ones that were sent to like China especially, he's a much smaller picture on the poster for sad reasons. So yeah, that is kind of, I do wonder if Disney is going to finish the film. I hope they do. I hope that Disney will restructure, absorb the people into their already existing animation rather than completely fire everybody. Although Disney hasn't been the greatest on that lately, so best of luck to the employees of Blue Sky.
As we said, we don't stand a corporation. There are many reasons to be upset with Disney. Firing a problematic actor isn't one of them.
Yeah, but you know, the Blue Sky people aren't problematic. I hope they're absorbed into the given jobs in the existing infrastructure.
We know,
and
one thing that was
they'll finish the film.
Yeah, one thing that was announced back at the investors meeting, the investors conference a couple of months ago, that Disney was working on an Ice Age animated series, and I hope these people are attached to that. You know, they created that franchise, and hopefully they'll be able to continue working on something.
Yeah, and they deserve it. I mean, Blue Sky's been a pretty solid, kind of a second tier animation studio, but solid. But yeah, I mean, best of luck to everybody impacted on the kind of base level of that. I really hope that they're either continuing to work for Disney in another capacity or that they can quickly find other jobs.
Especially now.
Especially now.
Again, sorry to start the show on such a downer. But it
gets better from here.
Yeah, let's pick it back up with our main feature.
So what I was going to say? I was going to say that, yesterday was a special day for a lot of people, but today is a special day for me because today is Cheap Candy Day. So let's get a sugar rush.
Yay. We've been talking about the unsung Disney princesses. We've had Elwani from the Black Cauldron. Elwani from Black Cauldron. I still can't pronounce your name. We've had Kita from Atlantis: The Lost Empire, and we have now Vanellope Von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph. I don't know if she's a unsung princess because she's still a very popular character, and you can meet her in the parks and whatnot, but she's not an official Disney princess, which is why we chose to have her as part of this month. Does Vanellope deserve to be part of the official Disney princess lineup? And I thought she was going to get added when they said that they were going to have a scene with all the princesses in Ralph Breaks the Internet. Hasn't happened, though.
Yeah, as of this recording, no Vanellope in the Disney princess line, yeah.
Yeah, so, well, before we get really into this, we have to start this meeting of bad and non with the credo. I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good. And that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me. Okay, now we start this. Wreck-It Ralph, the story of the bad guy that wants to be a good guy. And there's a lot of this is not something new for Disney. Disney has done video game inspired movies before. We've covered Tron last year.
Yeah, almost a year to the day, actually. So, yeah.
And they've wanted to do more. There was plans for a movie called High Score at some point, which would have been an animated movie. But that never happened. That never got off the ground. And they never really returned to it until the Pixar people came into Disney when Bob Iger bought Pixar, and He kind of had the people in charge of Pixar also be in charge of the Walt Disney Animation Studio. And they kind of like this idea of doing a movie based off video games. And they brought in Rich Moore, which we last talked about with Zootopia. Actually, this was his first feature film that he did before Zootopia.
Yeah.
He was mostly known as doing animation, television animation, doing shows like The Critic and The Simpsons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Go back and listen to Zootopia if you don't remember us talking about him, because we went into him a little more in that.
Yeah. So this kind of being the start of it, and this is kind of people have been asking for a long time of another Roger Rabbit. This pretty much is the modern Roger Rabbit, because you have an original character and he's surrounded by other more well-known characters. It's just that this happens to be a video game rather than a cartoon.
Yeah, and boy, did they pull out all the stops on this one. We've got Pac-Man, we've got Q*bert,
Sonic,
we've got Street Fighter in here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, if you're a gamer, there's a lot of Easter eggs in this film.
So yeah, this is pretty much what the modern Roger Rabbit kind of movie would have been, with all those characters, just to give this world a bit of realism. Sort of like what they did with Toy Story, with having characters like Mr. Potato Head and Barbie in it.
Yeah, it was kind of like Roger Rabbit did that for cartoons. And then Toy Story did that for toys, and then Wreck-It Ralph is that for video games.
Let's kind of backtrack to our main point of Vanellope herself, the Princess Vanellope Von Schweetz. There is a reason why I believe she's not an official Disney princess, and it has nothing to do with the way she's promoted in this movie.
I also have a theory, and yeah, it's kind of, I think it has nothing to do with that either.
Her entire thing is how she's promoted outside the movie. There are two types of characters you meet at a Disney park. There's a face character and a fur character. A face character, that goes without saying. They're the ones that you see their face. They can talk to you. You can have a conversation with that character, and you have a nice little experience. The Disney princesses, Snow White, Cinderella, Ariel, Jasmine, all of them. They're all face characters. They're all actual people in costumes that you can talk to. Then you have fur characters, which are complete mascot characters, head to toe in a mascot costume. They don't talk. They communicate with basic hand gestures. Vanellope is a fur character. She is a head to toe mascot character presented in the parks. So she's not allowed to talk or anything like that. And I think that's why she's not an official princess.
That is completely different from my thing, because honestly, I'm gonna say I didn't know that she was rendered as a fur character. That is ridiculous. Bad choice, Disney. This is a character that does nothing but talk and make jokes, and you're gonna make her a fur character that doesn't speak.
So what's your
that just breaks my brain, honestly, because I don't think I've ever seen pictures of Vanellope at the parks, although I just looked them up, and that's kind of terrifying. Vanellope is a human character. Just put a human in that outfit.
I think because it's not like we haven't had face characters that were supposed to be children. Alice.
Also, every Disney princess pretty much is supposed to be a child.
Essentially, yes. Or teenager.
I mean, Snow White is like 14. But she's always played by like a 23-year-old. Which is fine. I'm not saying put a 14-year-old in the park. Please, let's not do that. But, children don't really care.
Yeah.
I've
seen
put
adult
a 20-year-old as Vanellope, and no child is going to care.
Get the same person who plays Alice and Wendy or Tinkerbell, put him in the Vanellope costume. No one's going to care.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of a popular-ish cosplay, too. I mean, we know people that have dressed up as this character.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's always weird when you're seeing couples dressed as Vanellope and Ralph. That's a vision of those two characters I do not want to see.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. But if you back in the long before times when we could go to conventions, Vanellope is actually kind of a pretty popular cosplay because it's like super comfortable and it's not that hard to do.
It's a hoodie and like mostly it's mostly just a hoodie.
Yeah, it's like a hoodie, a skirt, some leggings, and some cool barrettes, like candy themed barrettes.
Candy-shaped barrettes, yeah.
Yeah, it's super easy. I mean, if you're looking for dead simple cosplay, Vanellope Von Schweetz, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have no idea why this is considered a fur character at the parks, especially because her entire character is about making jokes and puns.
Yeah. So what was your theory?
Well, mine has more to do with the plot of the film, so let's hold off on mine until there, and let's you want to go ahead and do the cast for this one?
Yeah, let's go through the cast, and it is it's a pretty big cast.
Yeah, it's a massive cast. We're only going to go through the main people, and like all modern Disney movies, pretty much, this is 100% stunt casting. These are all people that you recognize from other things. So let's start off with Ralph, our title character, John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
How do you not love John C. Reilly? I guess Walk Hard is probably one of his bigger ones.
Yeah.
Because he is the main character in that. But he also does... a
lot of Will Ferrell movies.
A lot of Will Ferrell movies. So he did Step Brothers. He did Talladega Nights. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy, so more Disney. Yeah. He was in Boogie Nights and Magnolia. Works with Paul Thomas Anderson. He's excellent. Come on. I don't know if this was like his first voice acting, but it's the first one I remember.
This John C. Reilly, while he is playing a character and he's trying to make his voice sound a little more gruff, you could tell it's John C. Reilly doing a voice,
Yeah, this is just basically his voice, but a little deeper, a little
Though
angrier.
I wish I mean, granted, we wouldn't get songs until the second movie, but after seeing John C. Reilly in Chicago, can you imagine Ralph singing a song?
Yeah, I mean, he's good. He's good. I mean, Mr. Cellophane is not an easy song to pull off. And he does it very well. So, moving on. Speaking of someone else who is just using their own voice to talk, as Vanellope Von Schweetz, we've got Sarah Silverman, the comedian.
A little bit more high pitched than her regular voice.
Yeah, she's trying to sound a little bit younger, but still, there's no way you've ever heard Sarah Silverman speak and didn't immediately know that was her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just her, So yeah, I mean, primarily known for her stand-up comedy, and she was very shortly on Saturday Night Live, and not for very long. But one of the more interesting things was the strangest part of her career to me was when she was on Star Trek Voyager. Do you remember that?
I do not.
Yeah, because the thing is I was kind of aware of her because, I've been watching Saturday Night Live since I was tiny. So I kind of already knew who she was, and then she showed up on Voyager, and I was like, is that Sarah Silver? What is she doing on Star Trek? But she was, there's an episode, a two-parter actually, of Voyager where they go back in time to the then modern day of the 90s. And she is like this, chick who drives a hippie van and is a hacker or whatever that teaches them about modern day and helps them in the plot and is a love interest for Tom Paris.
Who wasn't an interest for Tom Paris at that point?
Yeah, they were kind of shipping him around with everybody, weren't they? But yeah, she was really good also on a show that I don't think gets enough memory or credit, Greg the Bunny.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah, she was a main character on that one with Seth Green.
Wait, that's a Fox show. I mean, Disney owns it now.
Oh my goodness, yeah, they do. Yeah, I have the whole series on DVD around here somewhere, but it was very short-lived and not a lot of people seem to remember it. But as a fan of puppet-based series, I quite liked it. But anyway, yeah, you know Sarah Silverman, you've seen her in everything. Moving on, we got the title character of the Fix-It Felix Jr. video game. We have Jack McBrayer as Fix-It Felix Jr. Probably best known for playing the NBC page Kenneth in the show 30 Rock. That's really where he got the thing. But he started out on Conan O'Brien. Yeah. The late night show, the original NBC show that Conan O'Brien did. And he used to do sketches and stuff on that and played a bunch of characters. And then he got cast in 30 Rock later, and now he's in everything, which is fine because I actually love Jack McBrayer. He's wonderful.
Which kind of explains why his role was reduced in the sequel.
Yeah. I mean, he became a massive name between the release of this movie and the time of the sequel. I would not consider him as much stunt casting as some of the other people because he does a lot of animation. I mean, this man does bukus of animation, including our personal favorite animated show, Mighty Magiswords.
Mighty Magiswords.
Yeah. Official, talk about a show we stan.
Yeah.
If we stan anything, we stan Mighty Magiswords around here. But, yeah, so, but yeah, he's made a name for himself now in animation. So, you know, I don't really begrudge him this character. Moving on, we've got, his love interest in the film.
Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch, the incredible Jane Lynch. Oh my goodness.
Sergeant Calhoun.
Yeah. Most audiences started knowing who she was because of her role on Glee. Don't hold that against her. But before that, she did a lot of work with Christopher Guest. So she showed up in like Mighty Wind, Best in Show, For Your Consideration. You know, she's one of those amazing comedic actress. She recently did the most amazing character on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That she plays kind of an older and more respected comedian who is known for doing like a like her stage persona is a fat woman who is like very working class, kind of Bronx, I think, accent or whatever, you know, and she's always screaming about my deadbeat husband and living in this tiny, you know, tenement apartment on the, you know, and then you meet her in the series, and her real thing is she's wearing a fat suit, so she's much thinner because Jane Lynch is much thinner, and she's also incredibly bougie, I guess you'd say. She like lives in this mansion with a butler, and she's constantly wearing furs and everything, and you hear her on stage and she's got like this really thick like working class New York accent, and then you get her in her house and she's like, would you please bring me some tea, you know? Like,
get her done.
Yeah, it's very much the kind of, you know, that kind of thing of she's playing on the rubes of, you know, making them think she's one of them. It's a very kind of Larry the Cable Guy kind of thing.
And the fact that they made Calhoun look exactly like Jane Lynch.
Calhoun does look very similar to Jane Lynch, slightly younger, but yeah.
But of the four main characters, she's the one that looks most like her voice actor.
Yeah, they really did use her as a model, I think. But she's so good in this. She's so good in everything. I've been a fan of hers for longer than most people, I'd say, because I knew her before Glee. So when she showed up on that, I was like, oh, hey, it's that woman that shows up in all those Christopher Guest movies. So yeah. In kind of smaller roles, we've got Mindy Kaling, who people will recognize from The Office, and then she went on to have her own show, The Mindy Project.
Mindy just announced being in a new Velma series for HBO Max.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
She'll be voicing Velma in the new Velma series.
Yeah, but she shows up in here as kind of the mean girl leader of the Sugar Rush Racers, Taffeta, the one that really gives Vanellope the hardest time.
The fact that her name is three candies: taffy, mutton, and fudge.
Yeah. But she did voiceover before this in Despicable Me, and she'd show up again with Pixar when she shows up in Inside Out. So, whenever we get around to that one, we'll be talking about her again. But she's just kind of a tiny part in this one. So in another kind of very small blink and you miss it kind of part, we've got Ed O'Neill.
As Mr. Litwak, the owner of the as Mr. Litwak, actually more known as Al Bundy.
Yeah, as Al Bundy. He's the owner of the arcade, Mr. Litwak.
Although, what's that show he's on now?
Modern Family.
More people might know him from Modern Family these days.
Yeah. He would also show up again in a much larger part for Pixar in Finding Dory. So we'll talk about him again when we get around to that one. In kind of another little cameo parts, we've got two well-known comedians as the donut cops of Sugar Rush, Duncan and Winchell.
I love those names.
Yeah, if Duncan, most people will recognize because Dunkin' Donuts, but Winchell is another donut chain. It's just not as widespread as Dunkin'.
A California-based.
Yeah, that's more of a California joke, I think. So they got Adam Carolla and Horatio Sands in to lend their comedic chops and their voices to those characters. We also just have from our normal voice actors we love group playing various characters in the background. We got the likes of John DiMaggio, Jess Harnell, and the great Maurice LaMarche coming back. Maurice LaMarche is Tapper, the bartender in the Tapper game.
And let's throw him out there. Rich Moore, our director, as Sour Bill.
Yeah, Rich Moore does like putting his voice in his movies, so he is Sour Bill. He actually does a pretty good job of Sour Bill. I'm not going to fault him for that. Anyway, let's get into the actual
film
meat and potatoes of the film here.
Test your skills against this totally rad wrecker who loves living up to his record name. Only you can save Niceland.
I can fix it.
And be the hero. Fix It Felix Jr. featuring Wreck-It Ralph. Now at Litwak's Arcade on Route 83, offering 2 free quarters on your birthday.
So we have Wreck-It Ralph. It is we get his perspective on the arcade. He's been there for 30 years. It's the 30th anniversary of his game, and he's not very happy of his life. For 30 years, he's been the bad guy in the Fix It Felix Jr. video game. And which isn't a bad gig. He says he likes being a bad guy, but it's when everybody leaves. It's when the arcade closes that it's his big problem, as the people in his game treat him just the same off camera as on camera, as it were.
Yeah, imagine being an actor and you have to play the villain because that's your
role,
job.
Yeah.
But then when they yell cut, everybody goes out for drinks afterwards, but they don't take you because you're the villain. I mean, that would suck, It
would. I mean, it's his programming. He was programmed to be the bad guy in the game, and they're just jerks to him for no reason other than you're the bad guy, therefore we don't have to like you, which is terrible.
And we see after the arcade is closed and all the gamers go home, Ralph is actually very nice to the rest of the people.
Yeah, he's trying to be friendly.
Yeah, he's super friendly. He just wants to, hang out, have a drink after work kind of thing.
But they're not interested in it. They're going to bake pies for Felix because Felix is the good guy.
Yeah, I like that they're called the Nicelanders, I think they're called.
Yeah, because the building is called Niceland.
I think I warned you at one point that when we talked about Wreck-It Ralph, this was going to get into a deep theory of mine.
Let's go into it.
And it is time for that theory. Sit back, because I'm about to bring this whole thing down a little bit. I believe that, maybe not Fix-It Felix himself, but I believe that the Nicelanders are actually the villains in the game proper. Well, let me read you something, because if you've listened to the credits, you'll hear that there's actually a song written about the Wreck-It Ralph game.
Buckner and Garcia, I forgot to mention them.
I got Pac-Man fever. Pac-Man fever. It's driving me crazy. I got Pac-Man fever. Pac-Man fever. I'm going out of my mind.
Yeah, so they sing a song over the credits that is the story of this film.
Well, the video game, at least.
Well, yeah, the video game, excuse me. And what they say is, he was minding his own business on the day they came. They showed a piece of paper saying eminent domain. They built an apartment building saying progress was to blame. But he got mad and turned bad. Brick by brick, he's gonna take his land back.
You fixed it!
It mentions earlier in the lyrics that he was living in a stump on his very own land. So the story of the game is that Ralph owns this piece of land. Okay, imagine you're just living in your house, especially if you own your house. You're just in your house, and one day somebody shows up and says, get out of your house, we're gonna bulldoze it down because some rich people want to build an apartment building here, and we've decided to let them. And you're like, no, this is my land. My parents owned this land. My grandparents own this land. I own this land. And they're like, yeah, but rich people.
Like I said, it's pretty much the opening of Shrek.
It's not only the opening of Shrek. This is kind of just what America does.
Yeah.
I mean, you could claim that this could be seen as a metaphor for what happened to natives in America and other countries, but, we're Americans, so we're going to talk about America. I mean, basically, they sent Ralph to live in a dump afterwards, and what is that if not a reservation, maybe?
Mm.
And also, I mean, just gentrification happens. I mean, this is not a story that's in the past that happened to somebody's ancestors. There are lots of people who are like, especially in larger cities, who are like, hey, my family's lived in this apartment building for 3 generations, and they're like, yeah, but somebody wants to put up a coffee shop and a gym, so bye.
Yeah, and they're paying the city a lot of money to do it.
Yeah. So that's basically what happened to Ralph. So here's the thing. Is Ralph really a bad guy? I mean, is his anger really unfounded? If somebody said, get out of your house and go live in the garbage pile over there, and we're going to have a party here every night and make you watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're lucky he just shows up and punches things.
Yeah.
Let your mind continue with that where you will. I'm just saying that this exact situation in real life leads to a lot worse than the breaking of a few windows, which are easily fixed by the end of the night.
Yeah, so Ralph doesn't mind that being his game story. He knows that's the role he was cast in. But all he wants is to be treated with a little respect.
He
You know,
wants
he's-
to be part of the community. He wants to
Yeah.
be considered like, hey, I live here too. I'm your neighbor.
It's that, yeah.
Yeah.
We all work together. This is our world. This is our community. He just wants to be treated like a person, and they treat him like a monster. And we never see that in any of the other games. All of the characters know that they're characters, and they know they're playing a role.
Yeah.
And when the arcade closes, you know, they're all civil with each other.
Yeah, we actually see the closing down. When we see the closing down of the arcade for the first time, we see it from the perspective of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And so we see two fighters going from beating the absolute crap out of each other to the second the lights go out, they stop fighting and they're like, hey, want to go get a beer? And then they leave.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, why is Ralph treated differently by the characters of his game? Because it seems no other game really has this dynamic.
You do feel for Ralph for that. You know, it's not his fault. Even to the point where we see him go into Bad Guys Anonymous, to kind of air out his grievances, especially considering it's the 30th anniversary of his game. You know, he just wants to be treated with a little respect. To the point where he's saying, I don't want to be a bad guy anymore. Because in his game, in his world, bad guys, regardless of whether the arcade is open or not, are treated like garbage.
Yeah,
Literal garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And he-
like the idea of the Badanon meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. You do tell that there is prejudice against bad guys. Maybe not to the point Ralph experiences. He does seem to get the worst of it
Mm-hmm.
in the film.
Mhm.
But you can see when he leaves the meeting, which is held in the center of Pac-Man, which I love.
Mhm.
When he leaves the Pac-Man game and goes back into the station, some other characters see him and they go, oh no, it's a bad guy, and run. So it's not that there's not prejudice for bad guys in general, but Ralph does seem to kind of get it a little bit harsher in his own world.
Yeah, and yeah, there's prejudice. He's even singled out by the Surge Protector, which is their version of a customs officer.
Yeah.
Just because, granted, he is taking food from Pac-Man into the outside world, but he seems to always get picked on by essentially everyone in Game Central Station.
Yeah. I love him coming out with the cherries and just eating them.
Hey, at least it was a cherry and not a key.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Let the man eat. And then I like him giving the other cherry to Qbert and
yeah.
his gang. Yeah.
we
so sad.
find out that Qbert's game was unplugged, and now the Qbert characters are homeless.
And they just live in the station. That's what happens when a game gets unplugged. Characters, if they find out their game's going to get unplugged, they flee the game into the station, and then they're just kind of homeless, living there off the charity of other games.
Which is strange, because if they're from the game, wouldn't they still survive if the game was unplugged?
You know,
I get the story that they're trying to tell, but that's the only thing that bothered me. Why do they have to abandon their game when it's unplugged?
well, the idea of the world, I think, you know, in the real world, you unplug an arcade machine and then, you know, but the idea is that it's not just like powered down for the night or for a move. They are unplugging it to send it to the scrapyard. Basically, is that the idea is that the game has glitched so badly that it is irreparable.
Makes me wonder what happens if there's a blackout in the arcade and everything goes off for like 1 second. Does every character just reset?
Yeah. But the idea is that, you know, we never hear about a game getting unplugged unless it's like broken and can't be fixed.
Mhm.
So this is very much a metaphor for death or perhaps homelessness. You know, if you can't escape the game, you can still sort of live in the station in limbo, but you know, if you're not fortunate enough to escape the game in time, you go out with the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Ralph goes back home from his meeting to discover that every other character in the game is having a massive party for their 30th anniversary, and they did not invite him.
And they hired Skrillex for the DJ.
Yeah, there is a Skrillex character kind of in there being a
Is
DJ.
DJ
so-
Hero in this arcade?
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I guess it would have to be for them to get it, because they can't get anything from the outside world. It all has to be from some game. So the DJ is definitely in some game.
I like that they make the 8-bit characters walk like 8-bit characters, and they move like 8-bit characters.
Yeah,
Like
I love the walk cycle that they give. And I love that they, you know, like when, jumping ahead a bit, but when Felix meets Calhoun and he's like, look at the definition on her face. So yeah, I like that they mention, you know, Vanellope says she doesn't have a glitch, she just has pixlexia, which I love.
Yeah.
So
anyway, let's kind of get back here. So the Nicelanders are having a party for the anniversary. Ralph is not invited. Felix is the guest of honor.
and we can tell from their reactions when Ralph shows up that it wasn't that they forgot to invite Ralph. They specifically didn't invite Ralph.
Kind of like going back to Atlantis last week.
Yeah. It was very much that they did not want him there. But, you know, Ralph kind of comes in, and I like the way that he talks to Felix, because Felix is like, oh, yeah, we're just having a little party, it's fine. And instead of Ralph being like, why didn't you invite me to the party? He's like, wait, there's cake? I don't get cake. People don't throw out cake, so it doesn't end up in the the trash, so I can't really, you know, I've just always really wanted to try a piece of cake. And
The guilt trip, yeah.
Eventually Felix is like, would you like to come in and have some cake? And then he's like, oh wow, I didn't even think about that. That would be nice.
And it's like, oh, today's our anniversary? I didn't know that. Like just pouring on the guilt. And, you know, Felix could have been cruel and said, no, go away.
Ralph is a southerner.
All he needed was a bless your heart.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Ralph gets into the party, and everyone is definitely afraid of him because, in their words, Ralph is only good for breaking things. And he kind of does, because the house was not built with him in mind. They were built for the small Nicelanders, not this 9-foot-tall meat hook man.
Yeah. Interestingly, he mentions that he's 9 feet tall and stuff, and you're like, why in the world? But they're just within the last like couple of weeks, they've revealed that a character in the latest Resident Evil game is actually 9 foot tall.
So let's hook him up. Let's get this girl from Resident Evil 8 and hook him up with Wreck-It Ralph, and you know, you can have Steven Universe sing Giant Woman, and we're all good.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that it's very obvious that, yeah, he's not intentionally breaking things. It's just, you know, he's a larger, you know, a taller person coming in. You know, you got that one tall friend that always bumps their head on everything. Mm-hmm. He's that guy, you know, except it's just he's really massive, so when he bumps his head into the ceiling breaks, you know. It's like,
he's a tall man in a small man's world.
Yeah.
And he gets upset because, you know, they're again, not only did they not invite him to the party, but they're models of all the characters on the cake. They put Ralph in the mud, where he says, hey, I'm just as much as part of this game as you guys are. Shouldn't I be on the cake just like you guys are?
And also they make him look monstrous. You know, Ralph is just kind of a normal looking man, except for his like hands and his size. But I mean, as far as his face and stuff, he's just a normal looking guy. And they make him look very monstrous with like large teeth and, you know, like growl.
And we have the one Nicelander who just really doesn't like Ralph, who was like
Gene.
not Gene,
Yeah.
who I didn't know. So right now has the mustache. He kind of does look like Mean Gene from old WWF days.
Yeah.
Mean Gene, I don't know if that was intentional or not. Anyway, so Gene kind of like tells him that Ralph isn't good for much. He belongs in the mud. That's where he belongs because he does nothing but break things, and he kind of gets on Ralph's nerves to the point where Ralph loses his cool and destroys the cake. Why can't Ralph get a medal? Bad guys don't get medals. And it's like, I could get a medal if I tried. Yeah, and it goes with the whole thing.
And Gene says, if you get a medal, we'll let you live in the penthouse, but that's never going to happen. So go back to the dump.
Yeah, which gets this whole thing started. It's like Ralph leaves the game again, and he's going to get a medal. Because in his world, getting a medal makes you a hero. Getting a medal makes you a good guy. Getting a medal gets you rewards and love and appreciation.
Yeah, so he goes to the bar to drink it off, and he runs into a guy from a first-person shooter who's kind of built like him because he's wearing all this armor and everything, and the guy lets it slip that at the end of every round, if you beat the round, you get a medal. And Ralph's like, hey, that sounds fun. And the guy keeps screaming about bugs and everything, but we've seen Ralph deal with, roaches and stuff. He doesn't seem to have any problem with that. So he's like, oh yeah, I'll just go and squash a few roaches. It'll be fine. But no, they're giant alien bugs with, laser mouths and stuff like that.
I like the explanation of the bugs in that they're not traditional game characters, that they are intentional viruses that adapt to the game surroundings. In that, so essentially every time you play the game, the enemies are different.
Yeah, and this is playing off of games that try to evolve and have procedurally generated characters and things like that. There was a lot of hype around the Dreamcast, that it would kind of learn how you played the game and change its tactics to make it a little bit harder and stuff like that. Nothing as sophisticated as what's shown in this, but they've been trying to do that again for years, to greater or lesser success. So a lot of newer games do have some sort of randomization kind of thing and adaptability in some characters, especially fighting games and shooting games and stuff like that. So this really isn't out of nowhere, the idea of the bugs.
And I do like they explain it later in the movie that this is a relatively new game. They explain that this game just got plugged in.
Yeah.
So this is
top of the line. This is current gen tech.
We've seen shooter games in arcades before. I mean, the last time I went to a theater, which is now a year ago, there was shooter games, light gun games. The one I saw was a Transformer game where the gun was Bumblebee's arm and you shoot, But it's a rail shooter, so you're not in control of the character's movements. You're just in control of the shooting. Which this game is. This is a rail shooter.
Yeah.
Hero's Duty.
Yeah. Hero's Duty, yeah.
Yeah.
One world. One chance. One duty. Hero's Duty. It's the biggest duty of all.
It's a big duty, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is that I love these type of games. My favorite one was Time Crisis.
Oh, yeah, Time Crisis.
I love Time Crisis, and House of the Dead is another one very similar. I mean, these are older versions, but this just seems to be the updated version of that same idea. And when we see the girl playing the games in the arcade perspective, it is set up very much like an old Time Crisis machine.
Yeah. With the gun
So
and everything, yeah.
yeah, I like that.
Only thing is that she's not shooting off screen to reload.
Well, we never see her reload, so we
Yeah.
we don't know what the mechanic is in the real world for that. But can I just point out, I love the fact that the main gamer we follow is a girl.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, whoever actually said that in the meeting. Like, because in the original writer meeting, they were like, and so we go to the real world, and there's like a 10-year-old boy, and he's about to go, and like, whoever just spoke up and was like, remember that girls play games too.
And it works.
Girls also like arcades. Like, thank you to
works.
that person, you're my hero.
It works for what happens after this scene, where she wants to play the racing game, and these two boys are knocking her quarters up, saying, nah, we're going to play this all night, and just put down the $10 roll of quarters.
Oh my goodness. I hate arcade bullies. Like the ones that just camp a machine and will not let anybody get a turn. And it's always some rich kid whose parents had given them like, back in the old days, especially when it was like a quarter a game. Yeah. Their parents would just give them like a $20 bill and be like, go to the arcade all day. I don't want to talk to you. So they just have a seemingly infinite supply of quarters stacked up on the machine. And they're like, nope, this is my Saturday. I'm just playing this game.
So yeah, the fact that it's these two boys and they're knocking this girl's quarter off the machine, saying we're going to play this game all day, it works. It works in that scene in that little character development for the girl character.
I have been that girl, so yeah.
So in the game world, Calhoun ridicules Ralph, saying, hey, you broke the rules. You are not supposed to interfere with the player. So now we got to reset for the next player. Which, it's nice to know that each game has their own set of rules. Things that you're not supposed to do and things you are supposed to do.
Yeah.
Don't interfere with the player is a nice rule to have if you're a game character.
Yeah, Ralph is definitely, a lot of these characters count as NPCs, but Ralph is really like background flavor NPC.
Mm-hmm.
Like the character he's playing is really just animation to take up space on the screen. He really has no function in the game mechanic because he's not being played by a real player. And he doesn't have any lines or interaction with the player character. So he's just like a villager in a town that you can't talk to or something. It's that kind of thing.
Let's backtrack because we forgot the main crux of this world is if the game characters are allowed to jump from game to game, but if they die outside of their game, they don't regenerate. There's no extra life.
Yeah.
And
that is important. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonic the Hedgehog, for telling us.
Yeah, there's a little PSA from Sonic, which is great, and it's actually voiced by the guy who does voice Sonic in the games.
Yes.
So they got his legit voice actor to come over for that.
Anyway, so yeah, as the characters are resetting in the Hero's Duty game, he's saying screw this, and he's going to break into the final level to steal the medal.
Yeah.
At
because
the
bugs have gone away. They release a beacon at the end of every game, and the bugs fly into it and die, basically.
It's a bug zapper.
Yeah, it's a bug zapper.
Meanwhile, in the real world, our little girl character, after getting shunned off Sugar Rush, she's going to play Wreck-It Ralph because it's the only game in the arcade that no one is playing. And Ralph is missing.
I love this sequence of just like everybody in the game trying to figure out what to do, and Ralph isn't there. So Felix is trying to fix stuff, but it's already fixed, and the Nicelanders are like, hey, what are we doing? What should we do? Felix is like, it's okay. And then he you see him move of his own volition, and what I love is that the joystick actually moves too.
Yeah. And the buttons press themselves.
He asserts his own will. You see the joystick moving.
Breaking the rules of interfering with the player.
Yeah. But he's trying to get Ralph, and then he realizes Ralph is not in the game, so he...
Which makes the entire Nicelanders characters go berserk as they're all over the place.
Yeah, because suddenly they realize they can't have a game if Ralph isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less than 24 hours after ridiculing Ralph for just being a nuisance, they cannot function without Ralph. Their game does not exist without Ralph.
Yeah, and because Ralph isn't there, and because Felix isn't following the player,
The player
direction,
controls. Yeah.
They get a big out of order sign put on, and it is said that if there's going to be a repairman coming tomorrow, and if he can't fix the game, they're going to get unplugged. So Felix has to figure out where Ralph has gone and bring him back.
Luckily, Qbert comes in there and explains the situation because he saw Ralph going into hero's duty. And I love the fact that Qbert speaks in the sound effects from the game, which means that now people have to speak Qbert-ese to talk to him. And they make a reference to going turbo as a character has left their game to invade another.
Yeah.
It's explained later in the game, but I think we can go through it here. There was a game character called Turbo who was in a racing game. And then his game got less popular as new racing games were added to the arcade, so he decided to invade it to gain some popularity back, and it backfires as both racing games are unplugged and taken out. Like I said, taken out to be demolished or whatever.
And this has become the word of warning. Like, you can go visit another game, but you can't stay there. You can't go turbo. You have to, visit, but return to your own game, keep playing your role. And then...
Yeah, when the arcade closes, do whatever you want, but when the arcade turns back on, go back to your game. So that's a big thing, is if Ralph's gone turbo, as they say, then Wreck-It Ralph, the Fix-It Felix game, is in big trouble, because if Ralph doesn't come back, they don't have a home anymore.
Yeah. So Felix goes to Hero's Duty to find Ralph, and he meets the woman of his dreams, Calhoun. I love Calhoun so much. This is by far my favorite character in this entire film.
Let's get a Calhoun spinoff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's a
dynamite gal.
Oh yeah, she's a tough, occasionally violent woman with a tragic backstory and massive amounts of PTSD. I mean, what's not to like,
Well, we see the PTSD earlier with the other soldier, because every day, again, they just got plugged in, and it's every day, fight bugs, over and over and over again, the same fight, the same war every day, and it broke that character.
Yeah. Which is how Ralph can take his place and end up in the game. And
then we get, Calhoun was programmed with the most tragic backstory of all. On her wedding day, her husband was eaten by a bug.
Yeah. And I love how this is played for comedy.
Yeah.
Because it is a tragic backstory, and in the game it's probably a tragic backstory, but her remembering it is just like, I love you, honey. Ah! Like... So I love the little comedic bits of her flashbacks to those. Yeah. And then Felix calls her later a dynamite gal, and apparently that's what her fiance used to call her before he got eaten by the bug. So we see another flashback.
Yeah. Even without the tragic backstory, I made that mistake with a couple of ex-girlfriends when I would call them a cute nickname, and they just snap on me and say, no, my ex called me that, never called me that.
Yeah, well, it is the way trauma works. Like even the nicest thing can become a trigger in that situation. So I feel for her, Like I said, there's a lot to relate to in her character for me. But the thing is that Felix tells her as they follow Ralph, Ralph finds the medal and he puts it on and he's like, yeah, but then he accidentally wakes up one of the alien eggs, which are not supposed to wake up yet because the game's not being played. But he accidentally triggers one of them to wake up, to hatch, and it starts following its program and fighting, when nobody's there to fight it. And it ends up, Ralph ends up in an escape pod jettisoned out into eventually Sugar Rush.
It's a full on alien reference, especially with the egg and the face hugger.
Yeah, it becomes a face hugger, and Ralph is trying to get it off of his face, and he stumbles into an escape pod. It's a whole thing. But eventually he crash lands into Sugar Rush with this alien bug thing. Meanwhile, Calhoun and Felix are giving chase because Calhoun realizes there's nothing in the other games to stop this bug from spreading. And like you said, it's a virus. It doesn't know it's in a game. It doesn't realize it's in the wrong place. All it knows is adapt and replicate.
And destroy.
So she's like, if it gets loose in that game, it's going to destroy that game because there's nothing there to stop it. It's a racing game. It doesn't have like weapons and stuff in that sense. So they don't know what they're dealing with, and they don't know how to destroy them. So that game is in danger. But then she said once it destroys that game, it's going to figure out a way into the game station, and it's going to spread to every game in the arcade.
Yeah.
So she has to go stop the bug, and Felix goes with her because, according to Felix, it's his job to fix whatever Ralph breaks.
It's his programming.
Yeah. So he's going to follow and help out Calhoun.
You gotta believe that it's 50% Ralph, but it's 50% Calhoun.
50% Calhoun. Yeah, I mean, But anyway, she's rather impressed at his bravery, so they head off into Sugar Rush after Ralph.
Can you handle the rush? All new for 1997. Sugar Rush Speedway.
And Ralph meets the subject of this week's finally, because it's not really her movie.
Half an hour into this movie, we meet Vanellope.
Yeah. Ralph meets Vanellope, who is he's lost his medal in a peppermint tree.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get it back, but she just sees it as a gold coin, and she wants it to pay her entry fee into the race.
In her world, a gold coin buys you entry into the big race after hours, and if you win the after hours race, you become a playable character in the next day's arcade run, because there's a big sign, we see it with the little girl in the real world, new racers every day for Sugar Rush, meaning that in the programming, it's supposed to be randomized characters every day. But in the game world, they each have a race every night, and the top 9 racers, the top 9 placers, they become the playable characters for the next day.
Yeah.
And that's what Vanellope wants to be. She wants to be a playable character, and in order to be a playable character, she has to win the race. And in order to get into the race, she needs a gold coin. And as King Candy explains later in the movie, the coins come from your winnings. Like if each character, however they're played, gets coins when they win the race, points or whatever. And they use one of those coins to enter in the race, and that's how they get there. Vanellope, who has never been in a race, doesn't have any coins, so she needs to find a coin, and Ralph's medal is gold, so it works for her.
Yeah. This first initial interaction, I like that she just comes off as an annoying child.
And she's aware she's an annoying child.
Why are you doing that? What do you do? It's just that kid that just keeps asking questions over and over and over again. But, she gets the coin and she runs off because Ralph doesn't understand the mechanics of this world very well. So he, ends up falling into a taffy pond or whatever and getting sticky and all. And so Vanellope buys her way into the race, and she's like, you can't stop me now. I'm going to be a racer. And she has built her own racing car, but it doesn't even have an engine. It's like pedal power, and it doesn't look so great.
And we find out why she hasn't been in a race. Everyone calls her a glitch. It's their way of explaining these kind of characters. Now, a glitch in a real game is something that's not supposed to happen. Vanellope is essentially, in their world, something that's not supposed to exist.
Yeah.
It's possible she was a deleted character, an unfinished character, some sort of background character, but she's not supposed to be in the final game. She's just there.
Yeah.
And because she's a glitch and she always glitches out, they don't want to have the risk of her being in the race because they believe, again, this is explained later in the movie, that if a glitched character gets selected, it could kill the game.
Yeah, if a gamer sees that there's a glitch on screen, they might alert the, Mr. Litwak, and the game might get shut down and unplugged, and then they would be homeless. So they don't want to risk the gamers seeing her.
And also, again, explained by King Candy later, because Vanellope is a glitch, she cannot leave the game because she's not an official part of the game.
Yeah, she's unfinished, and so therefore can't leave the game.
And they fully explain that once the game is unplugged, everything that's in it dies.
Yeah.
So Vanellope will die once it's unplugged because she can't leave the game.
Ralph just wants his medal, and Vanellope says, look, right now the medal is just code. We can't retrieve it because it's been used to pay my entry fee. But if I win the race, then I'll get all of the winnings, including your medal back, and then I will give you your medal. So she uses Ralph's strength. They make a deal. She uses Ralph's strength to get into the mini game to build a real cart for her. Because her previous cart, one, it wasn't very good because it was pedal power instead of an actual engine, so it wouldn't have won. But also all the mean girl racers,
they destroy it.
Yeah, they destroy it by going like, oop, I glitched, and then breaking a piece off.
Yeah.
So, man, I really hate the mean girl racers in this. They're so much like people I knew as a kid.
There's a nice little Wizard of Oz reference with Oreo cookies.
Yeah, when you see King Candy's castle, you see Oreos marching around as the soldiers, and they're going Oreo, whoa, yeah.
I wonder if they had to pay MGM for that.
As we have mentioned many times on this show, Disney really wanted to do Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, they really wanted to do Wizard of Oz, even to this day.
The other thing we haven't mentioned about King Candy is he is meant to be basically the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, it's Alan Tudyk doing an Ed Wynn impersonation.
Yeah, and his visual is also based on that style, the way his head is drawn and his clothing that he's wearing and everything.
Fair.
It is meant to be that character basically, except Alan Tudyk now doing an amazing impression as the voice.
Alan Tudyk, that Disney good luck charm.
Oh. By the way, his new show, Resident Alien, that is on Sci-Fi Channel, excellent. I highly recommend it. He is brilliant. So, they get into the little mini game. They make a cart. Ralph kind of accidentally breaks the mini game, but it's not really his fault. He's just strong. And he's too strong for the game,
But Vanellope doesn't care. She loves it because it's her car.
And it's got a real engine, you know? But then when they take it back to the unfinished level that Vanellope lives in, the Diet Cola Mountain.
Yeah.
It's revealed that she doesn't know how to drive because she's never been in a race before. So in one of the strangest scenes in a Disney movie, we have the training montage, the, incredible training montage in a kids movie by Disney, performed to one of the greatest sex jams in the last, 20 years.
That's kind of
It's
becoming...
very awkward.
Yeah, and Ralph doesn't know how to drive either, so it makes the scene even more awkward.
Yeah. Not as awkward as Vanellope racing around the track to a really banging sex jam.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that song, but it's not about driving.
And we get the I guess the MacGuffin of all of this, Mentos.
Yeah, the
There's a
Diet
Mentos-
Cola Mountain has Mentos stalactites
Yeah.
hanging from the top that occasionally will fall into the cola and create an eruption, which is amazing.
And honestly, in a video game based off candy, that would be a great level.
Yeah, it's actually a really neat mechanic from a game design point of view.
Yeah.
If you maybe crash or trigger something that was, and Ralph triggers it by punching the ground.
Yeah.
He causes a little earthquake, and it causes some of the Mentos to fall. And we discover that not only is it an eruption because of the Diet Coke Mentos thing, the interesting thing is they can say Mentos, but they can't say Diet Coke.
Yeah, they say Diet Cola or Diet Soda.
Yeah, but they paid for Mentos, but apparently they couldn't make a deal with the Coca-Cola company, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
But when the splash hits you, the liquid that is created is apparently boiling hot like lava, and it will hurt you and kill you.
Yeah.
Which is another MacGuffin for later in the movie. But Vanellope learns how to drive, except that her glitch keeps making her crash. Her glitch causes her to kind of teleport randomly to a slightly different spot, and it keeps happening during the race, and she keeps running into walls and things. So, the idea is, he tells her, you got to get a hold of that glitch, because if you don't, you're just going to crash. But as Vanellope is getting ready to head toward the race, King Candy finds Ralph, and he tells him the whole story. Like, if Vanellope goes out there and glitches, we're going to get unplugged, and she won't be able to leave, and she'll die. So he convinces Ralph to prevent Vanellope from racing, and Ralph does what he was programmed to do, and he wrecks it all over her car.
I want to give props to Sarah Silverman for the acting in that scene.
This is a brutal scene. I mean, you want to, even knowing it turns out okay, this scene kind of makes me cry because they film it like a murder.
Like, you don't even see him mostly breaking it. Like, the first crack, you just see Vanellope's face and her screaming, no, no! And again, kudos to Sarah Silverman for, it's her doing a funny voice, but the acting in doing a funny voice and this sheer terror and pain in her voice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really effective scene, no matter how often you've seen it. I mean, it just rips your heart out.
We do have to backtrack a bit because we find out, mention the Konami code. Apparently, King Candy can manipulate the code of the game.
Yeah. And he gets Ralph's medal back in order to bribe him. Here's the thing you want, now leave. Vanellope can't race. Speaking of medals, we did forget to mention one other thing. Vanellope bakes him a cookie medal.
Yeah.
And it says, "You're my hero." Because she knows that the only reason he's here is because he wants a medal that says hero. And he's her hero because he helped her get a cart and learn how to drive, and now she's going to be in the race. And immediately after she hands him that, he smashes her car to bits.
I mean, it's a sweet little moment. Like, you helped me. This is my thanks. And then he breaks that car, and it's the scene of, her being very thankful for Ralph helping her, to him just saying, yeah, you're not gonna race, gonna break your car.
Yeah,
that rips her heart out.
It is some serious emotional whiplash because it happens within like a 4-minute span of the movie.
If Disney, I'm pretty sure Disney sold that as a cookie in their parks at some point, but that'd be cool to have at any point in time. It's just go to Disney, go to their bakery, and get a "You're My Hero" cookie.
Yeah, but Ralph, she tells Ralph, like, I never want to see you again. Ralph takes the medal and he leaves. He goes back to his own game.
And there's no one there.
Yeah, they've all evacuated, and Gene is the last one there. He's making himself one last drink. He's got a little rolly suitcase packed and everything. Yeah. And he says, like, they've all left because we're going to get unplugged because you weren't here. You broke the game. Like, congratulations. And Ralph stands on the roof and throws the medal at the screen, and it dislodges the paper just enough, at the out of order sign, and he can see into the arcade, and right across from his cabinet is the cabinet for Sugar Rush, and he realizes Vanellope is on the side of the game in giant artwork, and he keeps thinking, why would an unfinished character be the biggest character on the advertisement on the side of the game?
Yeah.
So we're heading back to Sugar Rush to figure out what's going on. Also, Felix is missing. The audience knows that he has been put in the Fungeon by Sour Bill, the little henchman to King Candy. But nobody else knows where he is, and since Felix was missing and Ralph was missing, that's why the game's going to get unplugged, They're the two main characters. You can't have the game without them. And Ralph goes back and breaks into the Fungeon.
And we also get a scene where, Ralph goes to Sour Bill asking questions. Why is Vanellope, and I hate the wording they used here, why is she on the side of the console? She's not on the side of the console. She's on the side of the cabinet. The console is inside of the cabinet. That's been bothering me since 2012. Anyway.
I know, it is, and all I can think of is maybe John C. Reilly just said the wrong word and they didn't get him in for a redo.
Anyway, so they explain that, or Sour Bill explains that King Candy removed Vanellope from the code, and they don't know why, because none of them have any memories, because King Candy erased all their memories.
Yeah, they're imprisoned inside the code somewhere. So Ralph goes to the Fungeon and decides to break Felix out, and they have a little moment where they kind of hash things out between them. And Felix apologizes for being mean to Ralph, and Ralph apologizes for abandoning the game. But he said, you know what? We need to help out Vanellope because something is wrong in this game, and I need you to fix her car. He brings the remnants of the car, and Felix hits it with his hammer, and it's back together again.
We also find out that if Vanellope finishes the race, the game will reset, and she will be back on the active roster of characters.
Yeah. Everything that King Candy has done will be reset.
How that works, I don't know. It's Disney movie. Shut up.
Yeah. They don't really explain how that triggers the reset, but yeah, again, it's a cartoon. Don't think too much about it. As much as that pains me to say, because it's literally all I do is think too much about cartoons.
And apparently, Vanellope is also in the Fungeon.
Yeah, she has been captured by King Candy as well, and she's like, I mean, boy, did they lock her up. She's in like 7 chains. It's horrible.
I don't know how that stops a glitch, but okay.
Well, it says glitch proof on the chains.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where they got those from. But As all this is going on, Calhoun has been on her own mission to figure out where the bug that Ralph brought into the game is, and it turns out it went underground and laid millions of eggs. And they're starting to evolve because it said earlier in Hero's Duty, whatever they eat, they become. So if they eat a gun, now they've got gun parts on them that can shoot. But they've been eating candy, so now they're taking on the properties of various candies.
Which is why Calhoun can't locate them, because sugar somehow interferes with her
Sensors,
her sensors.
Again, we don't know how that works, but, whatever. So, Felix and Ralph are on a mission to get Vanellope into the race so she can cross the finish line. And Ralph tells her, you don't have to win the race. You just have to cross the finish line.
And you'll be a real racer.
Yeah, but Vanellope is determined to win this race.
I am a real racer. I'm going to win.
Yeah. And once the other racers realize that she's in the race, they start using all of their little, Mario Kart type weapons to try to get her out of the race. Yeah.
And Vanellope is an amazing first-time racer, and she gets into the top 10 instantly as soon as she gets into the race.
Yeah, and she even starts later than every other racer, because it takes her a little bit to get to the track. So she starts out lagging badly behind the rest of the racers and almost instantly is ahead of them. But we see something very interesting when she catches up to the Mean Girl group. She glitches around them into place in front of them.
Which is it shows that she's starting to have control of her glitch power.
Yeah, because instead of crashing into a wall, she just glitches ahead of them, and now, she's taken their place. She's teleported in front of them.
Which causes the Mean Girls to crash.
Yeah. It's great because they end up in cupcake frosting or something. But the only racers that haven't crashed yet are Vanellope and King Candy. And they end up having a bit of a tussle.
He's straight up going to kill Vanellope.
Yeah, her car ends up crashing into his, so they're kind of linked together for most of this. And he is trying to kill her, and she grabs his weapon, which causes the weapon to glitch, and it passes the glitch onto King Candy, and we get our big twist reveal of the film.
King Candy is Turbo.
Yeah, Turbo didn't die when his game was unplugged. He escaped, and he went into Sugar Rush. And being smarter, because the thing that got him in trouble the first time was he went into another game, but he was just himself, and he made the other game unplayable. But he was a little smarter this time, because he invaded a game and made it look like he belonged in that game, and only tweaked the code very, very slightly in order to just make himself a playable character in the game. And now he keeps being the number one fastest racer. He's got the best stats because we see in the code that he's been tweaking his own code to make him a better and better racer. So he's frequently chosen by the players, and is one of the most popular racers in the game now. So he got everything he wanted. He just had to play it more subtly. But the problem is during the race, the underground bugs all hatch and start to invade the game and eat and break everything, including the finish line. And if there is no finish line, Vanellope can't cross and reset the game. So everybody has to escape instead before they get eaten by the bugs.
Also, King Candy gets eaten.
Well, yeah, that happens just slightly later, but yeah. The problem is everybody is able to evacuate the game except for Vanellope, because she can't leave. She's glitched. The game didn't get reset. So, Vanellope tells Ralph and Calhoun and Felix, you need to leave the game without me. It's okay. I will stay here. It's fine. You can't let these bugs get into any other games. Mm-hmm. You have to destroy the exit and leave me here. And Calhoun says, there's no other way to stop the bugs. We have to prevent them from getting into the station, because if they get it, because we don't have a beacon. And that's the thing that turns off the bugs. And Ralph suddenly realizes the Diet Cola Mountain could work as a beacon if I get enough Mentos into it.
Yep. So Ralph does what he does best. He's punching that Mentos, and you see the cola rise out of it. As we said, one of the bugs eats King Candy, and now King Candy is a bug.
Yeah. So he now, like, sort of, it's a bug with King Candy's head, and he's got wings and stuff now.
That has to be one dominant personality to overtake the bug's programming.
Well, Turbo in this sense is also a virus.
Yeah.
And he's a smarter virus because he understands game mechanics. So I can get how that would happen. You know, if he's able to reprogram the game he's in, he should be able to reprogram one of these bugs. But he stops Felix before Felix gets the final,
Ralph.
blow into the kind of giant thing of Mentos that's hanging up at the top of the mountain there. And he
shows his friends, like, this is where your friends die. Yeah.
And he's holding Ralph in the air, like making him look at Vanellope as the bugs are closing in on her. And Ralph realizes that to be a hero, sometimes you gotta make sacrifices and do the right thing.
And that's what Ralph has been lacking this entire movie, is that he's been doing everything so far for selfish reasons. He wanted to be a hero for selfish reasons. And that's kind of the difference between a bad guy and a good guy. A bad guy will do whatever for selfish reasons, but a good guy will do things for just being unselfish.
Yeah.
For the first time in his life, Ralph is doing something for someone else.
Yeah. I mean, good lesson to teach your kids.
Yeah.
So he punches the King Candy Turbo Bug and falls toward the Mentos part of the mountain,
holding the cookie badge in his hand.
This scene actually made me cry in my rewatch. It is such an effective scene.
Saying the bad guy mantra as he's falling.
Yeah, as he quotes the Badadon mantra as he's falling, and I just burst into tears. Like, I'm not even gonna front on that one. It just absolutely made me lose it.
And it's a nice lesson here, is that I think it's a lesson that's kind of get lost in the wording, but it's like, don't be something you're not, be yourself. And
you can be yourself and still be nice.
Yes.
Ralph is made to break things. Yes, it's what he's good at. His strength, both literally and metaphorically, is breaking things, but he's doing it here for good instead of, use your talents for good and not for evil is a really good thing to teach kids, because Vanellope's a racer, and Fix-It Felix is good at fixing things, and Calhoun is good at shooting things. But when they all use their talents for good, then, everything
works out. They're a good team.
Okay, yeah, they're a great team, and they can save the day. And Vanellope uses her glitch power, which she kind of got control over during the fight with King Candy, to quickly teleport to where Ralph is, and she performs that jump that she's been trying to do all film, and catches him in midair before the mountain explodes. The mountain explodes, and it does work exactly like Ralph had thought, and it creates something that the bugs see as a beacon. It's a big, bright tower of light, basically, but when they fly into it, it's also boiling hot liquid that immediately kills them.
And I do like, King Candy is trying to resist it, but because the bug is now part of its programming, he has to obey its programming.
Yeah, and he flies into it, and we see a kind of little splurt that means that he was also killed.
It's kind of like Gollum at the end of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, except not quite as dramatic. King Candy kind of goes out on a comedic note, which is kind of funny for a Disney villain. It's not, usually the Disney villain's death is like a relief, but it's not usually a joke, and King Candy's death is definitely a joke.
And that's all on Alan Tudyk's performance.
Yeah, it's like, no, why are you going toward the light? Toward the light. like, it's so good.
As the bugs are defeated, killed, whatever, Felix and Calhoun have their moment.
Yeah, Calhoun is so happy, and Felix hops up and kisses her on the cheek, and she grabs him, and you think she's gonna punch him, but she kisses him instead.
Yeah, we kind of skipped over it, but Felix actually saves Calhoun's life earlier in the movie from the quicksand. Or the next quicksand.
The next quicksand. By grabbing onto the Laffy Taffy. That's a great scene because, they have to make the Laffy Taffy laugh to get to it, and the Laffy Taffy is only laughing because Calhoun punched Felix in the face. So Felix just keeps saying, like, hit me, and every time she hits him, it'll damage his face, and then he'll whack himself in the face with the hammer, and it'll fix his face.
I like how he says it. That's an order, so...
Yeah. It is a great scene, and both Jane Lynch and Jack McBrayer play that so well in the way they deliver their lines. Felix fixes up the finish line. They fix up the car, and they send Vanellope across.
She wins the race.
The whole game resets. She has crossed the finish line, and everybody's memories are unlocked. And all of a sudden, Vanellope starts changing, and it is revealed that she was originally the main character of the video game, Princess Vanellope Von Schweetz, the leader of Sugar Rush. Immediately, the mean girls are like, oh my god, we didn't mean to be mean to you. It's just, we're really sorry.
It's like, oh crap, we just made fun of the queen, or the princess, the ruler.
Yeah. Oh. I love that Vanellope is like, for making fun of me, you will all be executed. And they're like, no, I don't want to die.
And Calhoun is impressed by this.
Yeah, Calhoun is like, wow, this game just got interesting, which was exactly my thought in the theater right before Jane Lynch says that line. I was like, wow, this is going to be a fun game now. But then we get to the reason why I am possibly going to argue against Vanellope being a Disney princess.
Okay.
Because in the plot, Ralph says, like, well, I guess you're a princess now. And she goes, no, that's not me. I mean, yeah, I'm a princess because the code says I'm a princess. And then she steps out of her princess dress and back into her, cute little hoodie and stuff. And she goes, but I am a racer. I am a glitch. She retains her glitch, her teleporting powers. Mm-hmm. And she says, we're not going to have a princess anymore. I'm going to be the president. We're now a constitutional democracy, and, I'll listen to my people. So within the narrative, it is a inherent part of Vanellope's character that she has rejected the role and title of princess. And in fact, it only comes up in the sequel movie when she meets the other Disney princesses, and she's like, well, yeah, technically I'm a princess, but it's not really a big deal. Yeah. So I think it would be, skipping ahead a little bit, it might be strange to ever add Vanellope to the Disney princess line as she stands now. Now, maybe they'll write a movie where it's like Vanellope has to learn to be a princess or something,
Considering what happened in the sequel, who knows? We haven't gotten there yet.
But if there's ever a third one, maybe they'll have her character evolve back in this direction, But, as of who she is, as of the, Ralph Breaks the Internet, she doesn't want to be a princess. She doesn't even want to be called a princess. She doesn't want to live in a monarchy. She does, she seems at the end of Sugar Rush being okay being a ruler of some sort. Mm-hmm. but not like a supreme, royal ruler. So to me, it would be odd to add her to the princess line. I mean, Mulan is there, so you could say, like, well, she did a heroic deed by saving her game and Ralph, and, but I think Vanellope would turn it down as far as character. So, yeah. But yeah, so, finishing out the plot of the movie, Ralph goes back to his game, and it turns out that while, he returns to his game in time for it to be, saved from unplugging. The repairman comes and he goes, well, there's nothing wrong with the game, so, whatever happened, it's fine. They treat him nicer now.
Because they know how important he is to their game.
Yeah. So after hours, he's treated like part of the gang. He
gets a cake that says our favorite bad guy.
Yeah. He also figures out how to give a home to all the homeless characters in the bonus levels. So now in Fix It Felix Jr., if you make it to the bonus levels, you can have like Hubert play with Felix, and
which makes the game even more popular.
Yeah, because now the bonus levels are added content, and you know how much gamers love our added content. So,
DLC for an arcade game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of, but for a 30-year-old arcade game, it's a little weird.
You gotta wonder what the makers of the game think about this one arcade game in one arcade that now has characters that were not programmed into it.
You know that well, here's the other thing too. Okay, maybe if this happened in the early 80s or whatever in the real world, then this would be understandable more. But from a real world perspective, okay, these kids are going to play Sugar Rush every day, and the main character of the game is not even a playable character.
Yeah.
Ever.
And there's this character that wasn't even programmed called King Candy.
Yeah, and there's this character that's not in the game called King Candy. And so, in my mind, in the real world, there's all these internet message boards about this one arcade in wherever they are that seems to have a unique Sugar Rush cabinet, which makes me think that this should have been like a pilgrimage point for gamers. You know what I mean? Like, if you read on the internet that, like, your favorite game, there was a seemingly unique console somewhere, it would be like, at this one arcade in New Jersey, there's a Dance Dance Revolution machine where you can play as Chun-Li or something, and you'd be like, I want to go see that console. It seems to be completely unique in the whole world.
That's how Miss Pac-Man started.
Yeah. So it seems like, why isn't Litwak's like the most frequented arcade ever? It used to have a unique Sugar Rush machine, and now it has a unique Fix It Felix machine. I mean, it seems like Litwak's hooked up, right? That he keeps getting these unique cabinets.
Yeah.
In, like, either he's reprogramming him himself, or he's got to hook up with the game company to give him so Litwak's should legit be the most frequented arcade in the world.
Yeah. So in the game, Ralph has made a little bit of a neighborhood, an off-screen neighborhood for the homeless video game characters.
Yeah, he's built them little homes. So now Hubert has a little home, and, so that now there's like a little tiny house neighborhood for all these homeless characters. Yeah. I love that Ralph believes in housing first. Yes, please. Housing first initiatives in the real world. And we find out that, Felix has married Calhoun.
With Ralph as the best man and Vanellope as...
Yeah, and Vanellope as the maid of honor in her princess dress. It's the only other time we see her choose to wear her princess dress.
And she hates it.
And she hates it. And yeah, everybody, it just seems like everybody's nice and happy, and it's great. And he says that the best time of the day is when he gets thrown off the roof of the building, because every time they lift him up to throw him off the roof, he can see out into the arcade, and he's right across, and he sees Vanellope winning at Sugar Rush, which is such a sweet moment. Like, I get to see my best friend, and my best friend's doing okay.
Although, you gotta be wondering, kids questioning why two characters in two different games are waving to each other.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's a nice little happy ending. Everyone gets a nice little happy ending. Until the sequel.
Well, yeah,
and
except
we
for
get,
King Candy, but
yeah,
who cares about him?
Yeah. We get, the ending song, When Can We See You Again? Which has another bit of Disney history, as that is the theme song to the Paint the Night Parade. A Disney parade with a song from Wreck-It Ralph with no floats from Wreck-It Ralph.
Also, this is like the most forgettable song in the world. I've seen this movie multiple times, and when I watched it for the podcast, I was like, I do not remember this song at all.
Like I said, I'm more familiar with this being a song from the Paint the Night Parade than I am for it being in this movie.
Yeah. So yeah.
And the credit scene done all in 8-bit.
Yeah, it's a good credit scene. What we didn't talk about was that the Walt Disney logo at the beginning of the movie, the one with Mickey driving Steamboat Willie, is done in an 8-bit style, and the Steamboat Willie, the little bit that he hums in there, that he whistles, is done in 8-bit music.
Yeah. They couldn't do it for the Walt Disney logo, though. That would have been, I would have liked that more, but I understand why they did it for the Walt Disney animation logo.
But at the end of the movie,
the very, very end of the credits.
The very, very end, after the credits, when you see the Cinderella's Castle logo that comes up at the end of the credits, it glitches out, and you see, like, Q*bert and stuff running into the... So...
It's a kill screen.
Yeah, I mean, they did a really cool effect with the game design through line, even with the logos, which is great. So let's do our questions.
Does Wreck-It Ralph have the magic? Definitely.
Oh, so good. This is one of the better movies Disney has done in recent years.
This feels like, I heard someone say this phrase, and I agree. This is the experimental era perfected in this movie.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that, because this is very much, I think Pixar is very much the heir to the Disney experimental era.
Yeah. And it does, this does follow the Pixar method of what if blank had feelings.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, that joke is that every Pixar movie is what if blank had feelings. So what if toys had feelings? What if cars had feelings? What if video games have feelings? And then eventually they get to what if feelings had feelings. So
now it's what if souls had feelings.
Yeah, what if souls had feelings? But so I like this. I think it's a very unique way of looking at things. I think that the story is much deeper than people give it credit for sometimes. As a gamer, I think we both love all the little Easter eggs and, oh, hey, that character, and, I didn't get that joke before. So yeah, I mean, this is an excellent film.
It's an excellent love letter to video games.
Yeah, but it's also its own thing. This was not the story I expected going into this movie the first time. And it's very deep, and it's about friendship. Like you say, the two main characters are not a couple, they're friends. Yeah. There is a love story in the film, but it's not between the two kind of lead characters.
It's more of a brother-sister relationship than anything else.
Yeah, and I I love that dynamic because I don't think enough Disney movies show friendship, especially not male and female friendship in that sort of way.
Mhm.
You know, they still suffer from the old trope of you've got a male character and a female character on screen. They have to be a couple by the end of the movie. And I love that this doesn't do it. And that the two most odd couple kind of characters in the entire film are the ones who end up having not only a relationship, but like a model relationship.
Yes, especially again in the sequel, you know, Felix and Calhoun are happily married, even talking about having kids in the sequel.
Yeah, and they're extremely happily married, and they're not like, well, we're still together, but we do that old sitcom trope of we're fighting and stuff. Like, no, they're just like a couple who loves each other, loves being around each other, is very supportive of each other, you know?
Mhm.
It's great. You don't see that dynamic very often, and
Felix and Calhoun are couples goals.
yeah, I mean, seriously, it's so good.
There's a couple of messages in this movie that have kind of gotten the wrong message from other people. What I mean is that, like I said, part of it is being yourself. Don't be something you're not. And that's kind of the lesson Ralph has to learn. But some people have taken it that Ralph needs to stay in his station. Like, you're a bad guy, stay a bad guy. And I think people get the wrong message from that.
Well, the thing is that, yes, his job is to be a professional, quote unquote, bad guy. That is his job. But I think the whole point of the Badanon sequence at the beginning of the film was to say, yes, that is our job. Like, that is the character we're playing. But that's not who we are. You know, I really do think it's more akin to an actor. Is
like
that
Zanke says, you may be a bad guy, but that doesn't make you a bad guy.
Yeah.
A bad person, more or less.
Yeah, you're not a bad person inherently because the role you've been cast in is the villain in this little play you have to act out every day.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about Zangief though, because Zangief is in this movie. One of our friends has the good fortune of currently being the voice of Rainbow Mika.
Yep.
And she has let us know that according to what they told her and how they had her pronounce it in the game, it's supposed to be Zangief.
I've heard it pronounced Zangief, Zanjef, Zangief.
But here's the thing.
It's Russian. It's a Russian. So I think Zangief is the Russian proper pronunciation.
Yeah. But here's the thing. The character's name is Zangief. Because that's what everybody's been calling him for like 35, 40 years now.
Yeah.
So, like, all apologies to any Russian people who may be named Zangief. Like, that's your name, that's fine. The character is Zangief.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Wreck-It Ralph has the character being named Zangief.
So let's ask the second. Well, we kind of already answered the second question. Does Vanellope Von Schweetz deserve to be a Disney princess?
Well, I kind of went on a rant. What do you? I mean, other than the fur character in the park thing, if you were in charge of the Disney princess line, would you put Vanellope as a Disney princess?
Yes,
you would.
I would. She does fit all of the qualifications. You know, she does show bravery in saving Ralph. She shows determination because she wants to be a racer. She has all the qualities that a Disney
She is
princess...
an actual princess. She is apparently royal by birth.
Other than the
She's part of a movie that was a hit, but not too big of a hit. I mean, it's got a sequel, but it's not like the biggest Disney movie ever.
I mean, other than, she wouldn't get her song until the sequel, but still, yeah, I would definitely put her in the rank of Disney princess. All she needs is an animal sidekick, and we have Cubert for that.
Yeah, Cubert could maybe be considered an animal sidekick. We don't know what a Cubert is, but okay. If I were in charge of the line, I would actually have a big, release thing. Like, I would make it part of like D23 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Where I would be like, and we're adding Vanellope to the Disney Princess line. And then I would have Sarah Silverman voicing Vanellope, like, in a short, you know, and I would have Vanellope be like, thank you for this honor. I really respect the Disney princesses, but that's not me.
That sounds like something you would do at the parks, like as a special show in the parks.
Because the thing is that you are correct in that Vanellope does meet everything they've set out for what you need to be a Disney princess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she ticks every box on the list, including that your movie was successful, which the previous two we talked about not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So she ticks all of the boxes. There is no reason she shouldn't, except that I think it would be an insult to her character because the movie specifically talks about how she doesn't want to be a traditional princess idea. That's not how she wants people to see her.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly think that Disney should just wrap the controversy up in a bow by, like, you know, saying we offered Vanellope the chance to be a Disney princess, but Vanellope gave character reasons why she doesn't want to be.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Because you're right, there is, in the real world, according to the standards set down by the Disney Corporation, she does meet all of their requirements. But, yeah, I mean, also stop having her be a fur character. Let somebody play the girl and have fun doing puns and making jokes with kids. It'd be great.
I am fully on this. Let's make Vanellope a face character.
Yeah. And, you know, make her an honorary princess if you want, or like the diplomat of the Disney Princess Corps or something. I don't know.
The first Disney president.
Yeah, the first Disney president. That'd be great, you know? Disney will have a female president before the U.S. will.
So yeah, that's a big thumbs up on Wreck-It Ralph. Let's move on to, this can't be right. This is what we're doing next week?
What are we doing next week?
Our next case of should they be a Disney princess is Anastasia?
You know, for years, everybody has been mistaking Anastasia for a Disney princess. And for years, those of us, like myself, who are huge fans of the movie Anastasia, had to say, that was a Fox movie, not a Disney movie. Except, Anastasia is now a Disney movie. So is it time for Anastasia to be a Disney princess?
We will answer that question next week. So tune in next week for when we talk about Anastasia. And we will talk to you all next time. Bye.
Bye. Don't let the magic stop here.
Join our conversation online on Facebook at Rewatching the Magic.
Twitter at Rewatch the Magic.
And of course, new episodes every week at rewatchingthemagic.podbean.com.
Remember, the magic is for everyone.
It only stops if you let it.